Hello students, welcome to your mathematics class. Today in this video, you will learn about the chapter data handling. So now in this video, let us see how to construct a histogram with the given data. Now let us do one example that weekly savings in rupees of 29 students of class 8 are given here, that is 3842. In this way, here the last number is shown, it is 77. So now in this question we have to construct a group frequency distribution table with class intervals of equal width. Also draw a histogram to represent the given data. So now by observing the given data, we can see that here the given data is in the form of ungrouped data. So let us prepare a grouped frequency distribution table by arranging the given data into small groups of equal class size. The small groups of equal class size are called class intervals or classes. So now before making class intervals, first let us find out what is the smallest or the lowest value of the given observations. So if you observe the given data, we will see that the lowest value of the given observation is here 27, which is already written here. The lowest value of the observation is 27 and the highest value of the observation is, by observing we can see that it is 84. So now we can easily find the range of the data. We know range of the data is the difference between the highest value and the lowest value of the given observations. So their difference is here 57. 84 minus 27 is equal to 57. So the range of the data, given data, is here 57. So now by observing the lowest value of the observations, which is here 27, we can make the groups begin with the numbers say 25 to 30. In such a way we make the groups so that the smallest number should be there. So we can make the groups from 25 to 30, 30 to 35 and so on. Now each of these groups having the equal class size. So these groups are called class intervals or classes. Now in each of the class intervals, say 25 to 30, the left hand side number is called the lower class limit and the right hand side number is called the upper class limit. Here the lower class limit number is smaller than the upper class limit number. And if we find the difference between them, that is the difference between the upper class limit and lower class limit, whatever difference we will get, that is called the class size of each of these class intervals. So all having the same class size, if we consider 25 to 30, 30 to 35. Now here the highest value of the observation is 84. So up to 85 we can easily consider the class intervals. So how many class intervals we will get? To find the number of class intervals from this given observations, we can use the formula range. If we divide the range by class size, let us see in this case, if we divide 57, here range is 57, by class size if we consider it as 5, so we get the value as 11.4, which is greater than 11 but less than 12. So approximately we consider 12 class intervals to cover all this given observations, or we can say the given data, if we consider the class size 5. But alternatively we can also consider the class interval as from 25 to 35, 35 to 45. In that case the class size will be 10 because the difference between 25 to 35 is 10. So class size will be 10. So in that case we get the value, if we divide 57 by 10, we get 5.7, which we can approximately consider as 6. So in that case we will get 6 class intervals. So to find out the number of class intervals from the given data, we can use the formula range by class size according to our choice of class intervals. So in this way, so let us consider in this question the class size as 10 and we begin with the class interval 25 to 35. So that we can only consider the 6 class intervals. We can take only 6 class intervals to cover all this observation. Now to prepare a grouped frequency distribution table from the given data, we make 3 columns, which is already shown here. Here the first column shows the class intervals, which we can say as the weekly savings in rupees of class 8 students. And we begin with the intervals, that is 25 to 35, because the smallest observation in the given data is 27 and the highest observation is 84. So up to the last class interval we can show up to 75 to 85 we can consider. Now here the second column shows the tally marks. So we take each item from the given data one at a time and put a tally mark against the class in which the item belongs. Now let us complete the table. So first class interval is here from 25 to 35, where 35 is not included. Again 35 to 45, where 45 is not included. In this way we continue up to 75 to 85, where 85 is not included. So where it is ends with the first class interval, in the second class interval it begins. So there is a continuation. So this type of class intervals we can call it as continuous class interval. Now let us complete the second column. So we begin with the first row. The first number is here 38. So we put in one tally mark in the second class interval, that is between 35 to 45. Then 42 is there, again 40 is there. So again 35, that will be included in the second row, that is between 35 to 45. So this all we cross it here. Next number is 72, that will be in between 65 to 75. So we put one tally mark here. Again after that 27, so that will be in the first class interval. So after that 57, so we put it between 55 to 65, one tally mark. Then 62 is there, so we put one tally mark in between 55 to 65. Then 59 is there, so we cross it, which we are already considering. So 59 will be between 55 to 65. Then 80 will be in the last row, that is between 75 to 85. We put one tally mark. Then 84, that will be in the last row. Then again 73, that will be between 65 to 75. Then 65, then again 40 is there, so that will be here. So already 4 tally marks is there, so we put the fifth one by crossing this 4 tally marks. So now after that 76, that will be in the last row, that is between 75 to 85. Again 40 is there, so we put in the second row. Then 38 again. Then again 60 is there, so that will be between 55 to 65. Then 58 is there, so we again cross the 4 tally marks diagonally, the fifth one. Then 54, that will be in the third row. Then 39, again that will be in the second row. Then 50, that will be in the third row. 44, that will be in the second row. Then 71, that will be in the between 65 to 75. 83 will be the last row, that is between 75 to 85. Again 45, that between 45 to 55. And 38 is there, that is again between 35 to 45. So we put one fifth tally mark as crossing diagonally the 4 tally marks. The next one is 80. So again we put a cross, diagonally cross line, that is the fifth one. And 77, that will be in the last one. So in this way we can easily show all the tally marks by observing the data. So now if we total this tally marks, the first one is give only 1, the second 5 plus 5 10, the third one is 3, the fourth one is 5, then next one is 4, the last one is 5 plus 1, 6. So now if you total this sum, 10, 15, 18 plus 10, 28 plus 1, 29. So we get the total 29, which is the total number of students according to our question. Observing the group frequency distribution table, let us find out some important results. The first question, what is the upper limit of the fourth class interval? Here in this table, this is the first class interval, this is the second, third, fourth. The fourth class interval is between 55 to 65 and the lower limit is here 55 and the upper limit is 65. So the upper limit of the fourth class interval is 65. Now let us do the second question. Find the class mark of all classes. We know class mark gives the mid value of each of the classes or class interval. So we can also use the formula to find the class mark, that is upper limit plus lower limit divided by 2 of each of the class interval. So if we consider the first class interval, that is from 25 to 35, if we find the sum 30 plus 26, 50 plus 10, so we get the sum here 60, and if we divide 60 by 2 we get 30. So the mid value of the first class interval is 30, or we can say the class mark of the first class interval is 30. That is, when the class interval is from 25 to 35, the class mark will be 30. Similarly, for the second class interval 35 to 45, if we find the sum, we get here 80. So 80 divided by 2, we get 40. So this is the mid value of this class interval. Similarly, the third class interval mid value will be 50. And fourth class interval mid value will be 60. Fifth will be 70. And the last sixth one will be 80. So these are the class mark of each of the class intervals. Now what is the class size of each class interval? So here each of these class intervals having equal class size. So the difference between the upper limit and lower limit will give the class size. So here 35 minus 25 will give 10. So the class size of each of the class interval will be 10. Now which class interval has the highest frequency? Here if you observe the third column, we can see that second number, that is 10, is the highest number. So it belongs to the class interval 35 to 45. So which class interval has the highest frequency? The class interval in between 35 to 45 is the highest, is the class interval which has the highest frequency. So in this way we can give the important results from the table. Now let us see how to construct a histogram from the given data. So before construction, let us know about histogram. What do you mean by histogram? Histogram, or a frequency histogram, which is also known as bar graph of grouped data, is a graphical representation of grouped frequency distribution in the form of rectangles with class intervals as bases and heights proportional to corresponding frequencies, such that there is no gap between any two successive rectangles. So now let us see how to construct a histogram with the given group frequency distribution table. Now to construct a histogram, the following steps we will follow. The first, we take a graph paper and we draw two perpendicular lines. One is horizontal, another is vertical. Both these lines intersecting at a common point, we name it as O. Then we take the horizontal line OX as the x-axis and the vertical line OY as the y-axis. After that, we choose a suitable scale for x-axis to represent the class intervals. Similarly, we choose a suitable scale for y-axis to mark the frequencies along y-axis. Now, after that, we construct rectangles with class intervals as bases and respective frequencies as the heights. So using these steps, we can construct a histogram with the given grouped frequency distribution table. So now let us see. Now let us see how to construct a histogram on this whiteboard. So first we will draw two perpendicular straight lines, one horizontal and one vertical. Here which is already drawn. Here OX line, here the horizontal line OX called the x-axis and the vertical line OY called the y-axis. These two lines are intersecting at a common point. We call it as O. Now we mark the points on them by choosing a proper scale on both the axes. So let us consider first we choose the scale on y-axis. So here on the y-axis we consider 1 centimeter length is equal to 1 unit. Now what is the meaning of 1 unit here? 1 unit indicates here 1 student. So if it is 2 units, that means there are 2 number of students it will indicate. So we mark the points as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We will mark more than 10 units because here the highest number on the frequency is 10. So here up to 12 it is shown, where the 1 unit shows here 1 centimeter length. So that with the help of, we will do on the y-axis with the help of scale, that is 1 centimeter length we will take, and that we consider as 1 unit. So which is already shown here. Similarly on the x-axis we choose the scale as, on the x-axis as 2 centimeter is equal to 1 class interval of equal class size of 10 units. As the gap between two consecutive one class interval is 10, it is of equal class size of 10. So 10 units means here 1 unit shows the 1 rupee. So the 1 class interval is, if we see the class interval, that is from 25 to 35, which means here the class interval shows the weekly savings in rupees of class 8 students. So here the class intervals we can also say that from rupees 25 to rupees 35. So their difference is rupees 10. So if we consider the 2 centimeter length is equal to 1 class interval, so that is from 25 to 35. Similarly the next 2 centimeter length we consider as next class interval, that is 35 to 45. Next 2 centimeter length we consider the next class interval, that is 45 to 55. In this way we can show up to 85. But here the interval is started from 25. So from 0 to 25 there is no frequencies shown. So in that case we will show a kink or a break. So we make a kink near the origin which shows that the scale is beginning at 25, not at the origin. So in this way we mark the points on the x-axis and y-axis according to our choice of scale, which is already written here. Now we will draw the rectangles with base as the class interval and the corresponding frequency as the heights. Now let us draw the rectangles with class interval as 25 to 35 as the base and the corresponding frequency as the height. So in this way we draw the rectangles in each of the class intervals. So let us consider the first rectangle which is in between 25 to 35. So here we consider the height as 1 unit. So to get the height, let us make a dotted lines with the help of scale. So if it is graph, if you use the graph paper, you will easily get the line. So as if you are using white paper, so in that case you have to first make the dotted lines to get the height. And after that you can rub the dotted lines. So here it is a rectangle whose height is 1 unit. So now here the range between 25 to 35, we have here according to our choice of scale, it is 2 centimeter. We considered here 1 class interval is equal to 2 centimeter, and on the y-axis one frequency 1 unit shows That means 1 unit frequency shows the 1 centimeter length. So this is a rectangle we are getting, whose area we can say that this length is 2 centimeter and this height is 1 centimeter. So the area will be here 2 centimeters square. So in this way we can form the rectangles. In the second case, the range, the class interval is in between 35 to 45 and its frequency is here 10. So we mark the point at 10 and we make a dotted lines at point 10 with the help of scale so that we get the up to the height 10. So now we join the lines with the help of scale. So in this case also we get another rectangle whose base is again 2 centimeter length, that is between 35 to 45 class intervals, and its height is here 10 units. So this area we can consider as 2 multiplied by 10, that is 20 centimeters square. So in this way we get the rectangles when we draw the rectangles in each of the class intervals with its corresponding frequency. So this height is here 10 centimeter because 1 centimeter is equal to 1 unit. So this will show 10 units length. So in this way we can complete the rectangles. So now after completing the rectangles we get the required histogram. So now from this histogram we can say that there is only one students of class 8 whose weekly saving is rupees in between 25 to 35. Now there are 10 students whose weekly saving is rupees 35 to 45. There are 3 students whose weekly saving is in between rupees 45 to rupees 55. There are 5 students of class 8 whose weekly saving is rupees in between 55 to 65. There are 4 students whose weekly saving is in between 65 to 75. And there are 6 students of class 8 whose weekly saving is in between rupees 75 to rupees 85. So this is all about the given question that to construct a histogram, which is the required histogram. This we can show easily with the help of graph paper because on the graph paper lines are already there. So with the help of scale we can easily draw the lines to make the rectangles. So now here look at this graph paper. This graph paper shows the histogram which represent the weekly savings in rupees of 29 students of class 8. So with the help of graph paper we can easily show the required histogram which is shown here. So in this way you try some questions which is given in your book. I hope all of you understood whatever discussed today in this video. So thank you all of you and have a nice day.